The show
I
and
know.
sale meeting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw that they now give you a preview of what you're sharing, which I'm like, wow, now you came up with that. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here for the show and sale meeting. This meeting is being recorded, so please be aware of that. We have a lot of information to get through, so we would ask, if you can stay muted, but if you do have a burning question, please, you can put it in the chat and we can get to it as soon as possible, or Dara can interrupt me and let me know that there's something we need to talk about, or we can just ask, our questions later at the end. Some of you have been doing the show and sale for a long time, probably can mouth the words along with the show. Some of you are doing it for the first time, which is really exciting. So hopefully we'll get all your questions answered tonight. But before I begin, I just want to say, how of this day of all days, how grateful I am that we have such an amazing community, a community of makers who look after each other, who are kind and listen to each other with open ears. So thank you for being part of our amazing community. So, this winter show and sale, 101 people are taking part. This is about the same as last year. We have a little shift in the option numbers. We have 60 in option one, 25 in option two, and 16 in option three. There are numerous people waitlisted. So, please, if you are considering at all tonight that maybe this isn't something that you want to, commit to, do let us know and know that it's not a bother. Somebody's waiting for that spot, but hopefully everybody's going to be great. Everybody's going to be ready for the dates of the 12th through the 15th when we open our doors for each day 10 to 7. Of course, we'll kick off the event on Wednesday, December 11th, with our own friends and family night. That's our night to be able to get all the good stuff first, to be able to cheer each other on, have some food and drink, and basically celebrate all the hard work that it took to get that show up and running. So to review our show space, this is the same map as last year. You're to remind you there are different colors that are shown on the map, and then gray, which would be letters, and those are option two. Option one spaces, there is a very great variety of different spaces. There's a lot of kind of curation at the time that we're picking spaces that I'll get to later. But I just don't want anybody to worry. You will end up in a space that is right for the amount of work you have, I promise you. So let's do a walkthrough of our space. To remind you, the main studio is magically turned into this beautiful show space. We have a day and a night look here. It's always kind of a little bit more special in the winter as it gets darker and all the lights start to shine. And I think the place looks, really spectacular. This is an example of Sarah DeBesch's work on a table and gives you an idea, if you're new to the show and sale, of what a display might look like. Everything is with glass shelves or glass blocks. We can bring flowers in, we can bring florals, but we really try and keep it simple in a way that just doesn't add to kind of the visual noise that it is to walk into our space and see so many different artists exhibiting. We want to show off the work. We don't want to show off the shelving. We don't want to show off signs and doodads and whatnot. This is an example of someone's space on one of the shelves in the main studio. And this is a great example. This is an option one person. This is Max Peck. And this person may have more work in back in inventory. So they're not going to overcrowd their shelving at the beginning. They're going to give a little space, make it easy for the customer to get their hand in to the space and pick out which mug they want. They're not going to cram everything in there and make it feel, make the audience feel like they shouldn't even approach it. So option one does have that ability to have inventory. Option two does not. And these are some option two spaces that are located in the main studio. And we see here in the bottom of that green shelving unit that there's an empty space. At some point, your work may be sold. That's wonderful. But our job is to work with you and just keep kind of zhuzhing the space so that, the space looks good, it looks clean, your work is being featured. If at the worst case we have an empty shelf, it's probably going to be on the bottom and nobody wants to bend over and get to the bottom shelf anyway. So everybody's happy. Some other notes on displays, so no fabric, no doilies, no anything other than your beautiful work, business cards. If you have some sort of signage, like you're explaining how flameware works or whatnot, you keep those things small and simple. If you have any questions at all, do come to me, and I'm happy, happy, happy to give you input on that. Every shelf has under-shelf battery-operated lighting, especially at night. That's really helpful. If you want to bring something into your space to help with your display, just think clear. Just go glass, acrylic. Option one, if you have a table, you end up getting glass shelves and glass blocks. If you're on a shelving unit, you are welcome to bring display boxes or whatnot, as long as they're clear. If it's something other than that, then you need to just, tap me and we can talk about it. But last year we had a little bit of people were taking like frames and putting their pricing in it and pictures of themselves. And, again, we want to have a cohesive look. We don't want to necessarily try and outdo our neighbors. We want to make everybody around us look good as well. And I think we usually hit that. But flowers and greens are encouraged. And also, we'll talk about sets a little bit later. That's an opportunity where you might bring some other items into your display. The front gallery is typically our instructors and our resident artists and our artists in residence being showcased. We're also this year going to have a Harvard undergrad display so that we can show off some of our wonderful Harvard undergrads and their work. There's more and more taking part in the studio. It's really exciting. They're not necessarily selling at the sale, but it's just a little display area. And then we're looking into whether or not we can have an area where some items may be on sale to give towards SERF, which is Craft Emergency Relief Fund, to help the artists who were so badly impacted by Hurricane Helene. If we find we cannot do that for some reason, you are welcome to, have a small sign that says that a portion of your sales will go to a cause such as that. Lots of causes I can think of today to give to. Uh, this is the hallway. These are usually option one spaces, but they are smaller than they are in the spring. So that's something to consider. I put this like human next to, this is our wonderful Jenny, who is next to her display. And this gives you an idea of the size of it. So it's lovely. The hallway is very nice to be in. Jenny also has some different things going on that I want to point out. She has some ornaments. I know ornaments are very popular during the winter show and sale. She is finding a way to hang them. We want to be sure that we just have a discussion about how are you hanging them? Are they being hung in a way that the customer can take it off easily? That they're not wrestling with tape or twist ties or whatnot. And then we have a little tree up on top. That's great. Just something festive to be in the space. And then on the bottom, you'll see there are a number of gift boxes. And she had smaller items. They may have been the ornaments that came into the gift boxes. And June, just remember that because June's going to make a comment on that, how that works with the cashiers later. The small classroom is option three. Now, option three was first created to accommodate the sculptors. that are not necessarily producing, 100 pieces, but instead have a number of, a fewer number of pieces, but would like to be seen in a gallery format. There are option 3 individuals who may be bringing in functional items. I just want to point out that sometimes if there's, if you're doing 2 mugs, let's say, it may be that there's a place somewhere else in the sale, could be in the main studio, could be somewhere that the work may be a little bit more visible. And I would talk to you about that if anything changed outside of being in this small classroom. But it's really always a lovely space, beautiful work. I think more and more people are going into it. It used to be we'd have to kind of like drag them in, but they know that there's some beautiful stuff to see in there. The throwing room is a mixture typically of option 1 and 2, and just looks lovely in here. So that's usually how it looks. The hand building room is almost primarily option 2. And though the shelving in there can be challenging just because we've got those really high shelves that no one can really get, and then some really, low ones that aren't, great. If we need to, kind of condense so that your work is all along the customer's eye line, that's great. Again, every shelf doesn't have to be crammed full of stuff. We can give a little space. The glaze room is our cashier area, and the bisque shelving will be the storage area for the option 1 individuals who have inventory. So nothing really shocking this winter. We'll have greeters at the door. They will offer the customers mass if they feel the need, and we will not be serving any food during the sale outside of our friends and family night. Once we have assigned spaces, you are encouraged to swap spaces, but we would give you a deadline of when to let us know, because Dara works very hard on the beautiful map of the space with the corresponding artist names and spaces so that our friends and family can, when they come into the sale, they can find our work easily. And we will have on display, of course, the HCP pots. Those are donated pots that we've gotten over the years. Those are items that you may donate this time if you like. We'll have, of course, the donated mugs that is a part of option 1 and option 2. And those will be prominently displayed. And so if you have any, donations to give, please bring those in, and we'll not in place of your mug/cup, ideally, but you know, you're part of the sale moment here. We're all gonna do it. We all gotta do it. And then of course, still our $20, oh geez, our $20 minimum. And honestly, I think that should be higher by now, but we're going to go with it. And we'll talk about pricing a little bit later. So, why do we do the donation of mugs? Because, in part, those mug sales give to our scholarship fund. And our scholarship fund is put together through different aspects of the annual appeal, gifts that were given in the name of Peter Berry, a former staff member and beloved friend of the studio, as well as a family foundation that provides us money for scholarships for people in the Allston-Brighton area. So each year we exhaust those funds. We gave 79 last year, and we want to try and keep that healthy amount of access available to the community. This is
Get rid of
typically,
these things up here.
okay, so this is where the mugs are typically shown in the front window. They're all put together. There's a kind of attitude towards, we don't want, your mug to necessarily be a very different price than the mugs that are in your space. So you can suggest what you think the mug should be. If not, then they tend to go for like $25. There's a really fun aspect of that where people who may be there to see your work, they're a follower of your work, and they see like, oh my goodness, I can get this mug, you know, in the name of scholarships. And then they can go to your space and get even more. So people approach it in different ways, but overall, it's a very successful way for us to provide accessible work to the public and to fund our scholarship fund. Work shift sign up. So the different options that you have signed up for, option one is the option with the largest amount of work. It starts at 41, though the average can be anywhere between 80 to 100 pieces. And of course, that's going to be, per what type of work you do. Are you doing jewelry? Are you doing functional work? Are you doing more sculptural? There's all different ways to approach this, and there's no need to be, too worried about it. Again, when we get to the point of picking your space, we'll have that conversation about what kind of work you're showing. How is your work going through the kilns? Bing, 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 like huge point there, right? I'm going to tell everybody on this call. Sarah and Pam will be loading the large reduction kiln this coming week, Tuesday and Wednesday. Do not wait for that show and sale kiln, which will happen right before the sale. But if you want to get ahead of the game, this is one that would be a really great one to get your work into and take a little bit of the pressure off. So option two is displaying between 10 and 40 pieces, let's say. It really can technically be 3 to 40, but 10 to 40 is pretty much a good amount. And overstock inventory is not allowed. So you really want to think carefully about, that this is the work that you're going to be showing together. And then option three is just displaying one or two pieces, tends to be sculptural and shown in the small classroom. So on Friday, you are going to get a newsletter like the show and sale newsletter that I send you. And it at 10 o'clock, and it will say, okay, it's time for everybody to sign up for a work shift. Not all your work shifts, just one. And then you get another one on Saturday and another one on Sunday. By the end of the weekend, everybody should be set, and it gives everybody a fair chance at getting the time slots that they most prefer. So option one will be required in total to sign up for 2 sales shifts during the show and sale and 1 cleanup shift, which happens on Saturday, December 7th or Monday, December 9th. If for some reason the cleanup shifts are all taken, then you would just sign up for a third shift. Over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Jenny and I will be looking at the sign up, and we'll be looking for any issues that come up. And you can, of course, email if you have any questions, because I will check periodically over the weekend. So option one, you're doing cleanup. You are not doing putback, because option two is doing putback plus 1 sales shift. So option two has a smaller responsibility in terms of working at the show and sale, but it's really important work. We cannot do this without the cleanup crew and without the putback crew. It's just so super important, and we're very grateful for everybody's energy put into it. And just to note again, there's no inventory storage for option two. Option three, you're going to sign up for 1 hour shift of setup. Now, setup is different than cleanup. We've already cleaned. We've got the furniture. Our staff has moved all the heavy furniture around on Friday, the last day of the semester. So Tuesdays, actually, you guys have a lot of fun. You get to do the decorating with me and any sort of last minute items that need to happen in the studio. Doris, I know you're out there. I got stars for you to put together. You're my star person. So Also, on Monday, December 9th, you will drop off your work for option 3, and it'll go on some shelving outside of the small classroom. And, basically, Monday and Tuesday is when we start setting up the gallery spaces. This is just a glimpse of what the show and sale work shift schedule looks like. You each day you sign up for a shift. When you've exhausted the number of things you need to sign up for, then stop. And until we get everybody in and doing their responsibility. If you want to do more, that's awesome. We also have some people who are who want to volunteer. That's fabulous as well. But we've got to be fair. It's not a time to, announce, oh, I'm going away all weekend. I can't do any weekend shifts. So being part of the sale is to commit to this time period. We understand not the every minute and every day, but we're expecting you to be available and flexible about what times you can work. And then unless you have been assigned as a cashier, you will not sign up for a cashier slot. So please do not do that. So again, we're going to get the newsletter on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You will have instructions like these. I'm not going to go through each and every one. It's every day. The newsletter just tells you per option what you need to do. So there's just no questions about it. Um, so you'll see that. Now, pricing your work. This is something different. Our dear Edwin Tan, who is our wonderful person who devises all our systems like cubic inch systems, our sales system, and works so closely with June. Edwin provided some information because we were talking about, like, I don't know, like, to be able to compare pricing or get a sense of a range. So this is a glimpse of just a handful of items from last fall. And you can see the different categories are just to give us a sense, like medium bowls. We can see the largest number of medium bowls left the building at either a $30 to $40 price tag or 40 to 50. Now, of course, there are exceptions to the rule, and there were a number of bowls that were sold for a higher amount. Look at the large bowls section above that. The average for a large bowl was between 60 and 80, though a number of large bowls went for 100 to 150. So that's very impressive. Of course, the largest number of items that, tend to go during the winter show and sale are your smaller items like small bowls, mugs, cups. And, whether that is about, people just looking for office gifts, small gift items, I don't know. But, here we can see that last year there were 201 mugs that left the building at an average of $30 to $40 and 127 between 40 and 50. But please see what a large range there is in terms of pricing. So we can see 16 went from a range of 80 to $100. So this is not to say that your mug, if you usually sell it for $80, that you should think about lowering that price. You do not do that, because as a collective, as a group of artists, we all have to collectively raise our prices. Okay? We can't be the bargain basement. We have put a lot of time and effort into this work. Believe when I see a mug for $20, I'm like, you definitely paid more than that to make it and get it through the kiln. So, really think about it, respect the time, energy that you have put into your amazing work. So suggested prices that we came up with based on this information, based on 2023 sales, if you just have no idea of where to begin. First time at the sale, you could look at this range of small bowls being 30 to 40, medium bowls being 40 to 60, large bowls 50 to 80. And of course, we've got pitchers and vases and all sorts of different items. And I can distribute that chart if anybody wants to look at that a little bit more closely. but mugs definitely have a very wide range of prices that they can go for. Um, Pam Gergon and I are very humbly asking if you want to come and talk to us about pricing your work. We will do our best. Pam and I don't always agree, which is kind of fun. And we are happy to have you come on Wednesday, November 20th to the main studio at 5:30. Bring like 2 or 3 examples of your work. And basically, we just have a conversation and we'll give you our best suggestion. At the end of the day, you just have to jump into selling your work head first, and you have to not judge it too harshly. You really can't take this so personally because every year is a little bit different. The audiences are a little different, but I can say that those people who spend time at the sale and are available for customers to talk to, because customers love to talk to the artists. They love getting your business card. They love making that personal connection. Those people are the ones that do great at the sale. Just saying. Cleanup and put back activities. We now have our wonderful new operations coordinator, Mary Kale Wilson, woo, who will be on site and with us for the cleaning for the show and sale. She is arranging with the last class clean. And, you know, that 1 hour that each class does at the end of the semester is so important because then it makes our job so much easier and we can get things up and set up that much faster. So when you're in class and you're so busy and have so much to do, I'm sure, but if you can just take that hour, work with your instructor, work with your TA, and do the things on the list that are usually pretty easy, but it really collectively makes such a big difference. Mary Kale will also have a list of tasks for independent studio individuals to do that will equal that 1 hour of class cleanup. So what to prepare for when you show up for a cleanup or put back shift, all I can say is, you know, don't wear your best gown or anything like that, but there's painting that needs to be done, dusting, Windexing, furniture being put together. We are going to need every shelving unit known to mankind, and I'm hoping I'm not going to need to go to IKEA again for this sale just to accommodate and show off everybody's work. So next up, we have our wonderful Dara Bowden to talk to us about publicity.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Okay, next slide. Publicity. I'll make it pretty fast. Wanted to give you a rundown of how we get out the word about the show and sale. One of the major things is our email newsletter. We now have over 6,000 subscribers. I spend a lot of time listing our event on online calendars like the Boston Calendar, Arts Boston Calendar, other free calendars, Mass Tourism Board, any free calendar listing online that I can find, I'll list our event there. Our social media at Harvard Ceramics, which has a huge following now. We have partnerships and cross promotion activities with the Harvard Ed Portal, Harvard Art Museums, and other entities at Harvard. I always send out our information to local journalists. I submitted it to the Boston Globe gift guide. I don't know if they're going to run it next weekend or not. We hope. Other other people who are writing about arts and culture, I always make sure they know about it. And then, most importantly, the efforts of everyone in the sale, all 100 artists and their personal networks. We want everyone to leverage their personal networks to get all your friends and family to come out and other people in your neighborhood and people who you cross on the street or ride the bus with or anyone. So next slide. Oh, oh,
Okay.
okay. So this is not our printed invite. This is a placeholder, but we will have some printed 5x7 cards as we have in past years. Those should arrive hopefully end of next week. And so you'll want to take those, carry them with you to hand out. And we will also have posters of some size that you can bring to your library, branch, your cafe, anywhere where it's appropriate to hang a poster. Next slide. Um, special thank you to everyone who has already submitted images of your work. I will be using those again to make that printed card, to put on our website, to have on our Flickr page, to make a slideshow for our front window on the TV for the e-screen in our front window. So if you haven't already submitted images, find the link where you can do that in one of Kathy's newsletters and upload your images. Next slide. So just to recap, the things you should be thinking of doing: invite your friends, coworkers, family, neighbors. Um, I have some dates that we plugged into our important date list. So you'll see a reminder, next week to announce that you're doing the show and sale, and then remind them a week later, remind all your friends a week later or 2 weeks later. And then, of course, very important, the week before the show and sale, really, hammer it home at that time, remind people to come. Again, put up flyers in your local neighborhood. If you are on social media, you can share our event. We have a Facebook event that's up already. You can start inviting people to that. We have a Instagram post that you can share. And you can make your own posts as you please do. And then you can tag us at Harvard Ceramics or hashtag Harvard Ceramics. And then just talk up the sale to everyone you meet, everyone in your life, everyone you come across. Just spread the word. I think that's it.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we'll have a link. I'll send out a newsletter tomorrow morning that has the video recording of this meeting, and I'll put the updated important dates document in that, so because I know we've added a little bit of new stuff today. So June Kim, tell us all about it.
Hi, everybody. I'll be mentioning about the inventory. Next slide, please. So on Tuesday, November 19th, you'll be receiving an email from us, a link to Google link to inventory sheet. And on Wednesday, 20th, if you are able to finish it, then you could start sending us an email to me at JIKIM@FAS. I'm sure everybody has this email. That you have finished your inventory. So also write, at the last row, just write down, just type in complete, and then you could just email me that you finished it. And then the label will be starting to print out on Thursday, December 5th. And as soon as I'm done and printed your labels, I will email you to let you know that the label is ready. And I will also have your inventory sheet printed out with it. So you could get those in the kitchen in our studio. Any changes or additional inventory, I will accept until Monday, the December 9th at 3 p.m. and no more afterwards. Okay, so if you have any changes, email me in the email text so that I know what it is. Because usually people make additions, changes in the inventory sheet. I don't usually go back to that sheet unless I actually don't, if the labels are already created. So if you actually add it on there, I'll never know that any additions has been added. But if you do have fair amount, then what you could do is you could put it in the inventory sheet and email me that you have added and let me know which ones by highlighting or giving me the actual inventory numbers so that I know which are new. Any changes, I will prefer that you email me in the email text so that I know for sure that those will be changed. And then I would also print out a new updated inventory sheet for you. Anything donated for HCP or the mugs, do not put them in your inventory. It does not include it in there. We will have a cart. I believe it's in front of the small classroom. In between the sculpture room and a small classroom, there will be a cart there that you could put it on that cart. And then anything that you do display, though, like this is for the instructors, the renters, the independent artists, the resident artists, and the artists in residence. Those items, you do need to put it in the inventory, and then I will create a QR code for those as well. Okay, next slide, please. This is the sample inventory labels. I'm sure all of you, most of you have seen them. And these will be printed out for you to attach it on your wares, on your work. If you look at the set of 4, those are the sets, the labels for the sets. So right now, that example is for the 4 items. I'm going to show you how you want to put those sets together, because the most hardest part about sets is that if they are separated in some way, and even if you have the labels together, there are people, customers will come in and they'll grab one of them, not all of them. So you need to make sure that they're somehow together, that they won't miss that. Okay, having a labels, like extra labels in front, like display labels in front saying that these are the sets, those are great. But the example, next slide, please, Kathy, that you could have is, this is our lovely staff, V, has created one year that she was selling these 2 cups as a set. So she made sure that she tied them together and that she, the person who's looking at it, or person who's about to purchase them, they can't really pull them apart. So we know for sure that those will stay together. Now, I did create 2 labels because she made this as a sets of 2. Now, if in this case, it's not really necessary to create it as a 2 sets, you could just put that description as a set of 2 in the description part, but the label just can be 1 label. So that will work, and I'll show you what I mean. But next slide. This is another example of sets that you could do. And the bags, the bag of that, clamshells is very nice way of putting them together. Especially the small items, because this way it looks very presentable, very nice as a gift, as well as you won't lose that. Or the small bowls, we did have a very small bowls. Those were very popular last time. Those, make sure that when you do tie them, that you tie them really well. Or created something so that, maybe you could have a cardboard at the bottom, just like what V did, so that those do not come off. Because if you don't do it tight and in the right way, those labels, the ribbons might come off, and it might create a little bit of a confusion if that happens. Next slide. And I'm going to share with you guys the inventory sheet so that, I could give you a little more example.
Oh, so you want me to, I'll stop sharing?
Yep. Okay, so this is the inventory sheet that you'll be getting. And once you get the link, you'll see your name at the bottom. So look for them, okay? But it will be alphabetized by last name. And then very end, the last sheet at the end will be the example. So if you ever have a questions or if you forgot, how to do this, then you should definitely look at this and see, what the instructions are. So there is an instruction, and there's also reminder of dates, okay? Now, the first column is the inventory number. These will be all filled in for you. So do not worry, do not change the 3 letters. It'll be filled in for you with 3 letters that is dedicated to you and the 3 digits. Do not change the letters, because that will actually confuse the system and we will not be able to distinguish whether this is your work or not. And then set of, if it's a set, this is where you want to put it in the sets. And if you want to change that, if it's for the sets, we want to add A, B, C, D as numbers. So let's say if it's a set of 4, you want to put letter A by double clicking on that cell and putting a letter at the end. And then you could click out and click back again, and you could just drag that like this, and then double click on it and change it like this. And now do not worry that you're skipping numbers, because that really matter. And for the next one, you don't have to change that back. Just leave it as it is. Okay. And then if it is set, you got to put the number of sets in there. What this does is that it will give you 4 labels for your sets. So like I said, when V created a set, although it's a set of 2, she didn't really need to do this as a set, because if she just did it as one of these and said that it was a set of 2, I would only print out 1 label for that. And that will, then she'll just stick that on and she will not need two labels. But if it's somehow it's separated, the sets are separated, you do need labels for each one. Okay. And then here, this is a pricing. You don't have to put the $ in, just put the numbers in. All the pricing has to be in whole number. Please do not do the like cents, because it really doesn't make sense that we do that. And if it's for not for sale, then you do not put the price, you have to put the pricing still. Doesn't mean that it's going to show up on your label, but you do need to do that because this is for insurance purposes. We need to know the value of your work just in case we need to claim it. And if it's not for sale, please put NFS in it. If it's not, leave this column blank. Okay? And then it will automatically calculate the total at the bottom and then total at the top. And when you're finished, the last column, last row, just put down completed and just email me that you have done it. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing.
All right.
And next slide, please. Okay, oh yeah, if you have any questions, just email me or you could just drop by the office and, we could talk about it and I'll show you how to do it. It's not that hard. So the inventory check-in, it will be on Monday, the December 9th and December 10th. And Pam and Jenny and I will be there to do the inventory check-in for you. You should bring your inventory sheet that you picked it up with your labels. You need to have all the labels on your work so that we don't really, so that it's easier for us to do a check-in. We're gonna basically scan all the labels that you have used. If you decided that you're not gonna keep one of the work, you're not gonna do a display on it, then you just throw that label away. Okay, so that we don't scan that in. So basically, we're gonna create a new inventory because you could change your mind about whether you want to do this or not. You could change your mind, said, oh, I don't want to put this out, this work. Then we're just gonna take that label away, and it should be fine. And we're only gonna inventory in those work that you want to keep in the show. And sign up sheet will be the Google link will be emailed to you on Wednesday, December 4th. Unless you have more than 150 items in your inventory, do not sign up for 2 slots. Just sign up for 1 slot. It's 15 minutes. It's really, really fast as long as you have your labels on your wear. So, don't worry. And then sometimes we do have some slots open on that day. So if you have forgotten that you have signed up, just let us know. Or, we may actually call you up earlier than your scheduled sign up hours. Okay, next slide. So after the sale, when you're breaking down, I will have your sales sheet for you, which is a list of items that you sold on Monday morning at 11 a.m. Okay, it's usually I put it out in front of the office so you could find your sheet. And what you do is you do an inventory. You compare that with your whatever it's left and make sure that everything has been accounted for. So, but if you ever find out that, there's one item is missing, make sure you do look all over the space. And sometimes you may want to wait a day or two to make sure that, those are lost, because it's usual that customers or somebody might have picked it up and then just left it somewhere. And we had times that, we found like a week later. But in any case, if you are sure that you lost your item, please let me know on that day. And you could let me know what that was lost, and you could let me know the item number of it. And then we will add that into the inventory. Anything that's broken, I get to find out as we are during the show and sale, and I will also add it. So after everything has been checked out, I will add up the total value of missing and or broken pieces. And then I will divide that number by the total sticker sales and we'll deduct the percentage from each participant's final 60% check. Okay, and those are usually very small amount. It's like less than 1%. Anything that's jewelry, fragile object, make sure that you cover them out or present it in a such way that it's not easy to be stolen or it's not easy to be broken. And those lids, please, please, tape those lids because there are many cases that people come in
Oh,
and they don't realize that that's a lid. They will just lift it out and it's gonna fall and break. So make sure you tape that. Okay, the next slide. So I think most of you will know what Buy2Pay is. Buy2Pay is the Harvard vendor system, and only through this system that I could process a payment for your sales. So if you've done a previous show and sale, or if you have worked at Harvard at other departments, you should be all set. You don't have to do anything, and Jenny and I will check those, and we have already checked those out. But however, unless you have changed your address, let me know. Okay, so then you would have to redo the Buy2Pay because this is tax reason that if your address has changed, the Buy2Pay has to know that. First-time participants and those who needing to re-register, you will receive an email from me with the instructions and an email invitation from Buy2Pay system before the show and sale. We want to make sure this is done so that as soon as this show and sale is done, that I'll be able to, submit the payment requests for your checks. Next slide. Very last information about taxes is that years ago, Harvard used to, slide before this.
oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Harvard used to send out 1099 miscellaneous tax forms. However, Harvard tax office finally realized that they don't need to do this because the payment that you're receiving is for your sales. It's not a Harvard sales. And you're just using Harvard as a venue to sell your work. So you're like a small business that, who are responsible to report all of your earnings and expenses related to that sales. So you will not get any 1099, however much that you earn through the sales. However, and also Harvard will not report these earnings to IRS. However, it is your responsibility to know whether you need to report this in your tax return. And that will be a tax expert questions that you need to ask. Okay. Any questions, please let me know. You could email me anytime.
Okay.
Thank you.
Couple of things I want to note from June's presentation. She mentioned not for sale or NFS. That really should be very few and far between. And it often happens in the gallery setting. I just want everyone to really think about the fact that this is one of our two biggest fundraisers for our organization. They are incredibly important to us. And so we'd love to show, absolutely everything. We are here to put out work that the customer can access. And so it can be frustrating, if a customer's like, oh, I love this, and it's yet again NFS. So do think about that. Also, when June was talking about the sets, one thing we saw, like an example of something that's not a great idea for sets, was somebody took 2 mugs and tied them together with some bows and made it $20. So that meant that you were trying to sell 2 $10 mugs. And that's an example of just kind of underselling everybody in the community around you. We're all going to ascribe to a $20 minimum. The donated mugs will not be below 25. So, something like that, we really want to stop and think about. And please, just come to the main office. We're all happy to advise if you're wondering about. And then I need to throw in that in regards to the setup for your being inventoried in. So when you come into the studio and you set up, you're setting up initially for that to be inventoried in, for Jenny, June, or Pam to come in and zap you or with the scanner. And as Pam would say, bring your readers. You need your readers. You got to be able to see stuff, be ready, be on time. Do not make these people wait because they are going so fast and furious to get through 101 participants in that show and sale. So that's it. And so just other, again, I've said it a number of times. This isn't dropping the kids off at the pool, people. This is, being present. being part of the community during the show and sale. Option 1, a reminder that you are responsible ultimately for your own overstock. As people are working shifts, and if you're not there and it's looking like your display is getting thin, our staff will go and bring more work out from your inventory. If you do not want that, then you need to clearly have signs that say that. But you want to put your inventory away in a way that our staff can easily pick the work out and keep your space looking great. So we will keep going along until November 25th and 26th, when I'm hoping that everyone will have a little bit better idea of work that is going to make its way through the kiln. On those days, you'll come to the main office and you will come and see one of us, and we will have you pick an option 1 or option 2. Option 3 does not need to do this. You're dropping your work off the Monday of the show and sale. Option 1 and 2, though, you come on by, pick out a letter or a number. You're going to have a discussion with me mostly about your inventory, what kind of work it is. We'll talk about what space might work best for that. And then you'll write your name on the piece of paper and we'll pin it to a ginormous map. If it isn't your number 1 choice, then I just don't want you to flip out. There are a lot of changes, a lot of shifting around for the next couple of days as I get everybody up on that board. And then people can also write if they would like to swap with somebody. That's always nice to have listed next to the map. So again, this is the map. This is what we'll be working with, lots of options, and it will be located on the back of the big wipe-off board in the main studio. And you are free to trade with others up until Wednesday, December 4th, when we have to finalize the map and the listing of participants. Right now, I know I've got a ridiculous pile of Amazon boxes in my basement right now. So you want to start hoarding your small and mid-sized boxes. Over the years, we have always had bags available because the city of Boston charges 5 cents per bag. When our cashiers say to individuals, would you like a bag for 5 cents or a box? They almost always say box at this point. So keep those boxes. They can be broken down. We'll have plenty of people getting ready for the show and sale that can tape them back up. Start thinking about greens and flowers for decorating spaces. Start giving the side eye to that beautiful holly bush in your yard, telling it its days are numbered, because those always look great. And once we get going, you can drop off those greens and flowers and boxes starting on the Monday of right before the show and sale. Please don't start bringing them in now. You know how little storage we have. So just kind of keep a pile going at home. And then right before the show and sale, we'll start doing that. And we'll also be looking for volunteers who can put batteries in the undershelf lightings. That is a heroic job. And that is about it. So thank you, everybody. And we have just about 5 minutes where we could take any questions you might have. Anybody want to unmute yourself and ask a question? Oh, well, I see in the chat, are there any glazes we should avoid at the moment? That's a great point. Yes, I want to first say our team, Casey, Diane, and Tom, have gone through hell and back dealing with these glazes and all the material changes that have occurred. We have the ghost of Custer Feldspar on this call right now representing, and it has been something else. And so as soon as our team, believe me, because we're ready to go. As soon as we start hearing about a problem or see a problem, we're on it. We pull the glaze, we try and figure it out. We're looking really good right now. The thing, because so many of you have experience, the big thing I would ask everybody is when you're glazing, look for two things. Is it hard panning? When you're mixing the glaze, are you really hitting the bottom of the bucket? Does it seem a little watery? Does it seem like it may have gone to the bottom of the bucket and got solidified? That's something that we're watching, and it happens every once again. It's an easy fix, but we don't necessarily know it's happened. So Diane, I know as one, and she has her crew, they go through the buckets almost every morning. I mean, all those buckets of glaze. It's, a lot. So then another thing is looking for glazes that just seem too thick. Many of you know the glazes, you know what they're supposed to look like. If you see something that just seems really thick, then come get a staff member, let me know, let Mary Kale know, and we are like on it. We are on it. So we want there to be no problems as we go into these next few weeks. We have done a lot of work to ensure that everything looks good. We have a crew ready to keep mixing as we run out of things, but be kind to those people. You can always contact myself or Mary Kale if you see something getting really low, and we'll be on it. And then Ashot said, can you put in the newsletter that we greeters, salespeople should encourage people with backpacks who walk in at the show to reverse their backpacks and put them on the front so it does not knock anyone's piece of work? That's a great suggestion. I'll also say that our people who are working the show and sale, you just cannot leave your stuff in the kitchen. We have had next to no problems in terms of theft, but we did have an occurrence of somebody walking off the street last year, and they went right into the kitchen and started going through purses. And those were bags of our workers, not our customers. So there is going to be, we're working on maybe an alternate place that's locked to put your coat and bags. We will let you know when we're finalize that so that when you come in for a shift, you're going to put your work away in a safe place. Anything else? Well, all right, everybody. So you're going to get 5 million newsletters. Enjoy those, and good luck signing up for shifts this weekend. And you know where to find us if you have more questions. So thank you.